The COVID-19 disruption has changed the way we live and work. While companies had to fast forward digital transformation, their workforce adapted to remote and hybrid operations to ensure work continuity. As economic activities are returning to normalcy, India Inc. is now facing pushbacks in getting its workforce back to the office. However, a mass resignation reported at Mumbai-based startup WhiteHat Jr. after it asked its employees to get back to office has put the spotlight on the problem facing India Inc. Employees don't want to return to office full time. According to a November 2021 survey by NASSCOM and job portal Indeed, around 70% of IT companies were trying to make the hybrid model work effectively. The survey found that 66% of the respondents had reported higher employee satisfaction working remotely. Now, let's examine the present employee outlook and the steps taken by India Inc. In March 2022, a financial daily reported the findings of a survey where 6 out of every 10 employees who responded were prepared to quit their jobs instead of returning to the office. The same survey by recruitment firm CIEL HR Services found that a similar number of employees were ready to forego a higher paying job that required them to come to the office. This view is prevalent among employees in sectors like IT, outsourcing, consulting, and BFSI, along with tech startups. According to a recent Business Standard report, companies across sectors are proceeding cautiously. In June 2020, FMCG player Kavin Care had said that it would rent out its corporate office and its 300 plus employees might work from home permanently. At present, Kavin Care's corporate office is still in the work from home mode and in-person meetings are held once in 15 days. In April 2020, TCS called out for a 25-25 model. Under this model, by 2025, 25% of the IT major's workforce would work out of its facilities without spending more than 25% of their time in office. HCL Technologies, meanwhile, has identified 40 to 50% of employees who can work from home permanently. For its part, Upgrad has established offices across multiple locations in multiple cities. This has allowed its workforce to choose their preferred work location. Over at ITC, employees can work from home for up to 2 days in a week. However, this is subject to approval, and in case of an emergency situation, work from home is allowed for up to 15 days in a month. For many who have moved back to their hometowns, it will be difficult to convince them to return to the high rents and long office commutes of the metros. Some prefer continuing from their hometown. Hybrid work models might not be enough to retain such talent. However, there are other options.
And there is also a possibility that if many of their employees, as you said, depending upon sector, functions, or locations, are going to work remotely, there some of the offices will move away from the big cities and can come up closer to some of the hubs where the talent actually resides, right? So you might see that organization will reduce office space in a bigger location like Bangalore and have smaller office space in many of the middle or size cities, maybe in some parts of say Kerala or Tamil Nadu, or for that matter, Nagpur in North. Having the talent and somebody whom you have worked with and somebody who has worked for so long and has been contributing while during lockdown also, and their contribution has something which has been recognized. Now replacing somebody like that will always become a challenge. So it's always good that company have solutions which are employee friendly, and I think this could be one of the ways what companies are looking at or should be looking for.
There are many advantages for India Inc. too in adapting to the changed circumstances. Not to mention, the changes seen in the nature of work, like the hybrid model, might not go away even if the pandemic does.
The benefit what offices are going to get or organizations are going to make, right? Because once you look, if you look at the pre-pandemic, the rental cost which was used to be associated, it is as good as that was hitting close to 20 to 30% depending on the office size and the location and where you have taken, right? And with this sort of model, there is definitely a cost which is being saved by the organization because of not being having such lavish office and at the bigger location. So I feel that in next 4 years, 5 years, while the pandemic might continue, I don't know how long, but there will always be a benefit which will not just be at the employee side, but the employer side also, which is in form of the rents and also maintaining a space like that. So it's, I think both sides will be getting benefited while ensuring that you are getting the most out of people.
Getting employees back to work will be a continuing challenge, especially if COVID-19 cases rise again. Even if and when the pandemic ends, companies might find that they have to go to the employee location and not the other way around. What about you? Would you give up an attractive paycheck for work from home?
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.